Hi everybody. Today we are going to talk about 2 audience response systems that you can use in your classroom. And these actually also work well in a remote learning setting. So whether you're in person or you're online, these tools will work well for grabbing information about your students, their learning, where they are in the process, and just getting those quick assessments that you might need in order to gauge how much you need to dig back into a topic or where they already are. The first of the 2 of these is called Socrative, and this is meant to be a kind of a quick assessment. Students can use their own devices of any kind, really. They can use a laptop or a desktop. They can use a phone or a tablet. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this and then demo it for you. This is the home page. I just wanted you to see that it's very simple to sign up if you choose to. You're going to click here at sign up for free. It's going to ask you what plan you want. I'm using the free account. You can see some of the details here. Create up to 5 quizzes, 1 public room. That's all I've ever used. And so on, you can see. And this is a biggie, up to 50 students per room. So I think that would probably get you by in most of your classes. So when you choose to sign up, it's asking you to create a teacher account and put in that information. Now when you do, you'll be presented with a launch page as well as a spot to create quizzes. So let me go there now. Okay, so this is my home page once I have logged in, and you can see I have a few tabs up here. I've got launch, where I can launch a quiz. Space Race is kind of a competitive game where students can compete with each other to see who can answer the most questions the quickest. An exit ticket, this is just a built-in exit ticket that asks some predetermined questions. If you wanted to create your own exit ticket, it would be over here in the quiz area. And then these are called quick questions. This is if you didn't create a quiz, a formal quiz before the class started, but you want to go ahead and ask a couple of questions, you can ask these on the fly. So let me demo a couple of these after I get through these options up here. Your library is all of your quizzes that you've created. You can see I have a few here. I have more than 5 because I had an account prior to that rule, so I have a few more in there, but you'll be able to have up to 5. I only have 1 room. I was able to rename that room to something meaningful for me. Reports, this is all the data that has been collected when you run any of your quizzes. So you're able to go back and look at that data later, which is helpful for really digging in and seeing where your students are. And then these are live results, which we haven't done yet because I haven't started an activity. Okay, so over here under let's actually go to library. I'll start with a pre-created quiz and go ahead and launch that for you. So this is one I already created. Let me just show you. If you're going to create your own quiz, if you go over here to add, you can go ahead and create a new quiz. And this is very simple. You have 3 choices here. You can do multiple choice, true, false, or short answer. Now, I know that's not as many options as you might be looking for. Our second tool today will have a few more, but this is really just meant to be quick assessments of where your students are and how you might need to pivot if they're not quite where you think they are. Okay, so let's say our first one's multiple choice. I just want to show you how it lays out exactly the way you would think. Your question, your answers, you can delete answers. You can add in images if you want to the question or to the answers themselves. And then I'll show you what they look like for the students as well. If we were going to do a true-false question, again, just like you would think, this is kind of nice. You can add in an explanation so that it can be on the screen if you want to explain why it was true or false. Short answer is just like you would think. A short answer question and then an explanation if you would like. Okay, so and again, notice here that you can have a correct answer, but it's optional. You don't have to. All right, so let's go ahead back. And from here, I'm going to go back to my launch screen. So in this case, I'm going to launch a quiz. So let me go ahead and do that. It's asking me which quiz, so I'm going to choose this one. And I have a few options here. I can require names or not. This is up to you and kind of what you're going to do with that data. If you really need to dig in on individuals and see how they are performing, you might want to require names on that. This is I'll finish over here. Shuffle the questions or the answers, up to you. Show question feedback, up to you. Score, up to you. This is a really common option in any of these audience response questions. Do you want students to be able to go on their own, where they can go at their own pace, or do you want it to be teacher paced? And this option at the top, you can read that. It says instant feedback. Students answer the questions in order and cannot change answers. Instant feedback is provided after each question, and you monitor the progress in a table of live results. So let's actually go ahead and do teacher pace so I can kind of show you a few things as we move along. And again, here's some more details. You control the flow of the questions and monitor responses as they happen. You may skip and revisit questions. This is helpful if you want to go through the answers with students at that exact time. So you want to talk about a question and then move on. Let's just look at this. Open navigation. Students may answer questions in any order and change answers before finishing. You monitor the progress in a table of live results. All right, we're going to go ahead and do teacher pace just for this example. So we'll go ahead and choose launch. Now when I do this, you're going to see that my first question came on the screen. Now you can see I have 0 people in the room right now, and I obviously need students to be in the room. So how do I have students join me? So what they need to do is go to Socrative.com, and then they're going to put in this room number. So let me pull that over and show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like on the student side if they're using a browser. There is also an app that the students can download onto their phone or tablet, or they can just go to a browser on their phone or tablet and put in Socrative.com, student login, and then the room name. So this is going to be the room name. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in and join. And I did require names, so I'm going to go ahead and put in a name. And for this area, if you want to keep it somewhat anonymous, but still have a way to identify students, you can assign them numbers, or maybe they have a locker number or a lunch number or a student ID number where you could put those in so that it's not quite as obvious what student names are if you're going to show results and things like that. So I'm just going to put that in. And now you can see that I see the same question here that's being presented on the instructor side. So as a student, I'm going to go ahead and answer this question. And I'm going to submit my answer. Okay, now I'm waiting. Because I did teacher paced, I am now waiting for the teacher to move us on to the next question. So I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute and show you that I have 1 student in my room now and 1 out of 1 students answered. So obviously you're going to have more than 1 student in your class, and you're going to want to wait until they all have put in their answers. So I'm going to go ahead and show the results here, and we can see that nobody got it right, but what the correct answer was. And then I can hide the results if I wanted to. All right, so as a teacher, I can then move on to the next question, and that's navigated up here at the top. So the next question comes up. I want you to see that on the student side, same deal. You can see the question come up. Let's say we think this is true. I'm going to go ahead and submit the answer. Now, there is an explanation on this one, but because I didn't choose that answer where the students get feedback right away, they don't know at this point because it's teacher paced. So I can see that the 1 student is in, show results. Yes, it was true. And here's the explanation. I can show the student so we can have a conversation about it. All right, next question. Once again, the student sees the same thing on their side. And this is a choose all that you would like. So how am I most likely to watch TV? So I'm going to say Amazon Prime. I'm going to say YouTube streaming. I'm going to say live TV. And I'm going to say other because we have a Roku that we watch a lot. And I'm going to submit the answers. And on the teacher side, I can see that 1 student has submitted, and I can show the results and see how people responded, and then have a conversation if we wanted. All right, last question. This is how has your teaching changed due to COVID-19? So here is the question. I'm going to go ahead and answer this as a student and show you what this looks like. All right, I went ahead and submitted my answer, and you can see that I can show the answers. This is what I typed. I integrate more technology into my teaching. I also utilize Zoom more now. I could show names if I wanted to. I don't have to. That's an option on these types of questions. And once again, if there was an explanation, I could have showed that. Okay, so now that I've answered all 4 questions, I'm going to go ahead and hit finish. This will end the responses. Yes, I am ready. Now on the student side, it now says waiting for the next activity to begin. So I can see here, I can show my responses if I want. I can show the results if I want. I can also show names if I wanted to. I can export this and hold on to this if I want to. I can share this with others. These are my reports. So if I go back to my launch screen for just a second here and show you, I did this. But now if I decided, you know what, I want to ask one more question, I'm going to go ahead and choose true and false. Now here's the thing about this. There's nowhere for me to type this in. It's a verbal thing that I'm giving the students. On their side, all they see is a true and false option. So as a teacher, I might say, true or false, Georgia beat TCU in this year's college national championship football game. Is that true or false? I'm going to submit my answer. I can see what the answers are on the teacher side, but I would have to tell them if that were right or wrong. So that's how the on-the-fly types of questions are asked. You have to verbally ask them because you didn't create an actual quiz ahead of time. All right, once again, I'm just going to show you under the reports area. Here's the one I just did. I could take a look at that report again if I wanted to, and I could launch another quiz if I wanted to from here. I'll just show you what this one looks like, this exit ticket. Yes. All right, on the student side, it says enter your name. I'm going to do this again because this is a new activity. Here are the 3 questions for the exit ticket that's built into this program. How well do you understand today's material? Pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and submit it. What did you learn in class today? My answer here. And please answer the teacher's question, something I'm verbally giving them. So I'm going to say true to this and submit the answers. Again, that's just a pre-created exit ticket. You could use that if you wanted, or you could create your own and store it under your library. So you can see how I responded here. I said B, my answer here, and true. So that's how the exit ticket works. So again, this is Socrative. It is meant to be a super low learning curve, a very simple tool to use. It's very self-explanatory, and it's an easy way to push out a set of questions that you want immediate answers to from your students. And again, there are 3 ways that they can answer those questions. If I go back to my library, or rather my launch area, and choose the quiz. Let's say I'm going to run this one again. Remember, there are 3 delivery methods: instant feedback, open navigation, and teacher paced, and then a few other options over here as well. So this is Socrative. Hopefully this gives you a good idea as to how you might use this in the classroom. One of the things I really like about this, number one, is that it does work well in the classroom or online, and it is also very easy to use on any mobile device, which makes it really versatile. All right, let me pull up Poll Everywhere for you, and that's the second tool we're going to talk about. Okay, this is Poll Everywhere, and this is similar to Socrative, but there are a lot more options that you can do with this. Pros and cons to both sides. What Poll Everywhere, a few of the limitations for the free plan, and I'll go ahead and click on pricing so that you can see these. Few limitations to the free plan, any number of questions that you want, but 25 max audience size. Right there, you can see that. You can also see that if you really wanted more, what the pricing of that is. So to sign up, you would obviously click the sign up button, and you would say that you would be a presenter. And I love that there's a Google option, so if you already have a Google account, it's easy to create an account with this. And that might be handy, and I'll show you why at the end. So let me go ahead and show you my Poll Everywhere account and some things you can do with it. Okay, I should have mentioned too, I am using the free account, so I'm not using anything that I'm paying for at all. Here is going to be my URL for activity responses. This is easy to share through a chat if you are online, or on the board if you are in the classroom. You could create a QR code for that if you wanted, if you have a lot of cell phones in the room, and that would be easier. It's really up to you. So from here, you can see that I can add an activity, and I'll show you, I have a list of activities as well. I'll show you in just a second, but let me show you some of the options we have for activities. All right, so once we come here, you can see we've got some options up here at the top. Multiple choice, a word cloud, which I really like. I like that you are able to create a word cloud as people put responses in. Q&A. A clickable image is cool too, and I'll show you how that one works. But you can click on a map, or you can bring in your own images for someone to click on, and I'll show you both examples. A survey, if you just want to ask multiple questions, there are no right or wrong answers. Open-ended, pretty self-explanatory. A competition, series of questions, and let participants compete to answer fastest. And then we have some more. And you can see a whole host of other ones here. that you could really do a lot with. And I'll let you take a look at those. But recognize that this has a lot more options than Socrative does. And, some of these are a little more visual. Actually, most of them are much more visual than what we were seeing in Socrative. So just know that you have those options. And you can create those questions. Again, unlimited number of questions. Let me go ahead back. And this is my activities area. So I'm able to create folders inside of here. If you noticed back on Socrative, to create folders, you needed a pro account. I can create folders. I can have just individual questions that are just ready to launch for a class. I went ahead and created a folder of 5 questions that I want to launch and have participants put answers in, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and open this and launch the first question. The first question is going to be a word cloud, and you can see once you launch, this is my screen that I have as the presenter. So I have a couple different options here. First, I can go ahead and put this in presenter mode so you don't see any of this over here on the right. But I did want to show you what's over here on the right, a few options to configure. And I'll let you look through these, but this is going to allow text messaging or website. For this particular set of questions, people can do either. So they can either go to that website I showed you, or they can text in, and that information is up here at the top as well. So that gives some flexibility. I will say that I think this doing the URL is a little easier, but they certainly can text in a number to join the room and then answer the questions. Down here you can see that they're allowing everyone, or you can restrict to registered participants. You can allow people to be completely anonymous if you want. These response settings, how many times can they respond to the question that's being asked? Allow them to change their answers or not, and so on. So those are some of the options under configure, and you can test this if you want to see if it's going to work, and then you can choose to embed or share this out with others. Okay, down here at the bottom, you will be able to see that as the instructor, I can show the responses, or I can just show the instructions on how to join. This is a handy place to start if people are looking to just join your room before you even get started. So you may not even want to show them the first question at first, but just show them the instructions. So let me go ahead and actually log on as a student and show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like on the student side. I went ahead and joined the room, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a name and then continue. And it says it's waiting for my presentation to begin. So I'm going to slide this over and then slide over to our responses, and now choose to present so that everybody will be able to see the questions that are being asked. So let me go ahead and choose to present. And when I did that, the student then got the question. So let me go ahead and enter a response and submit. And I allowed multiple responses to this, so I'll go ahead and allow, I'll put in a couple more. I'm going to put in the same word again, because I think you know in a word cloud that word will get bigger as more people say it. And I'll say challenging, because it is. And I did not spell that very well. Let's try that again. There we go. And I'm also going to say I think it's fun. All right, so once I've submitted all of those, we see now on the instructor side that exciting is large, because we said that twice, and obviously as more students said it, it would get larger or smaller depending on what other words are being used. So that's what the word cloud looks like, both from the instructor and the student side. So let me, if I roll my mouse down here, I can go on to the next question. And I'm going to switch back over to instructions. There we go. So that students can see, this is what they see, exactly what I'm seeing. And I'm going to go ahead and answer it. Now, I only have the instructions on, so that's helpful if you don't want to show them how everybody is responding immediately. So if I then switch over to responses, now we can see how people are responding. So it really depends on whether you want them to see them immediately or you want all the responses to be in and then decide when you want to show them. Okay, next question. I'll go ahead and switch back over to instructions. This is what it looks like for the student. What song is used in a Rickroll? If you don't know what a Rickroll is, then you were me 2 years ago. I didn't know either, so you can look it up. But basically, it's a funny practical joke that people play on each other. So I'm going to go ahead and answer this as a student. I will come down here and show the responses and show that I down here you can see responses, and then you see where it says correctness. Because this one has a correct answer, I'm going to go ahead and click that now, and now we can see what the right answer was. So you can progressively show them the responses and then if it was right or wrong. All right, I'll go ahead to the next question. Start on the instructions page. Click on one state you want to visit over the next year. This looks exactly the same on the student side. I'm going to go ahead and choose my answer. All right, we can go over here to responses, and I can see where one student chose, and then you can have a conversation about why'd you choose that, and oh, look how many people chose that, and so on and so forth. All right, so let's go on to the next one. I'm going to start, this is the last one. I wanted to show you, I'm going to start with image here. Again, it looks the same on the student side. This was just a little image that I created in PowerPoint just to show you can bring in your own. So what you're going to do is just click where you feel is appropriate for you. So I'm going to say I'm right in between here. For the student side, I'm going to click that. There we go. And if I show my responses, there it is. So you can really create or use anything you want as a image that would be helpful. So let's say you are teaching chemistry and you have a periodic table, and you might say, okay, you guys, where is the element silver? And then you'd see where they put their cursors. All right, so I want to also show you, there are a few more options under here if I want to clear the responses. If I say, all right, you guys, we had a hiccup there, let's go ahead and clear. There it's cleared, and I can answer the question again on the student side, and there it pops back up again. So let's say that I go ahead and exit this. And let me show you that for individual questions, you can look at response history. So if you click on this, you will see how everybody responded to that question. And you can share responses, you can download them. There are additional reporting features, but you do have to upgrade for that. But you do have some options. Let me go back and show you the first question and show you that it does record everything that somebody has said. So if I go to response history, this was the one about the word cloud. So if we do response history here, we can see once again who said it and what they said. We can share the responses, download, and so on. So I just wanted you to see that there was some response history that you can take a look at. All right, heading back to the beginning here. I want to show you one other thing, and I want to show you ways that you can integrate Poll Everywhere into other applications. So let me pull up that page. Okay, I'm back on the main page of Poll Everywhere under a tab called Apps. And if we scroll down here, you can see that Poll Everywhere can actually be added to a lot of different external applications. And these are those. I am going to show you an example of how it looks inside of Google Slides. So if we click on here to learn more, you can see that the first thing we need to do is add a Chrome extension. And again, this is a Chrome thing. So once you do that, you'll be able to then log on to Google Slides with the same Google account that you used to log into Poll Everywhere and bring them together. Now remember at the beginning, I had said that it might be helpful to log into Poll Everywhere using a Google account. This is why. The Google account that you bring up for Google Slides has to match the one that you had registered with Poll Everywhere in order for this to work. Once you've added the Chrome extension, you go ahead and bring up Google Slides, and any slides that you already have created is fine. Once you've installed that Chrome extension, you'll see that you've got a Poll Everywhere option at the top here. When you click on it, you can see that you can insert a new activity and create it right here within Google Slides, or you can insert an activity that you've already used. This is the same list of activities that I showed you back on Poll Everywhere. So let's say that we bring in this question. We can see what it is. We can go ahead and insert into the slides. We can edit it if we want to. Let's go ahead and insert it. It's asking how we want it to look. I'm going to stick with the default and choose to insert the slides. It inserted it right after the first one. I can move these around if I want, and it gives those same instructions at the top. So you can integrate additional Poll Everywhere questions into already existing Google Slide presentation that you have. How great is that? You don't have to go and recreate anything. You can just use your existing Google Slides presentation and add in some additional interactivity for your students. So this is Poll Everywhere. You can see it does a few different things than what Socrative does. I think they both have their place. I think you could use either one of them. But I wanted you to see all the great things you can do with both of these tools. Again, think about these things not just in terms of online or face-to-face. You can use them in either environment. Okay, good luck.